All right, welcome everyone. Tonight we're going to be talking about scaling your business in real estate. A couple weeks ago, I was really lucky that I went to the Linfinity conference that was hosted by my mentor, Tony Lin. We had a lot of our students ex kind of share their stories about how about the different asset classes that they got into for real estate and different businesses. And we had so many great stories. And then one of them really, really stuck to me was Giangela's story about how he grew his short-term rental portfolio to well, actually, no, based on this, I thought it was gonna be 50, but now it's 70 listings.
Mhm.
So, and I've known him for the last couple of years, and that number just kept increasing like an insignificant number. And it's just really a mind-boggling to see how a small team was able to operate that. So during that presentation, he went over his strategies and then also his the tech stack that he has used, and also about using leveraging overseas virtual assistants. So I was able to learn many different business um, basically operations from him. So I wanted to bring him back because that 20-minute presentation was not enough. So we're going to give you guys this opportunity to listen in on what he does. And you guys can feel free to ask questions. So I will be monitoring the chat box in here or the chat box. And then also if you wanted to ask certain questions and just want to raise your hand, go ahead. You can ask questions during the event. I am also recording this as right now because I need to use AI to catch all the notes and take and remember what we did today. So I will be sharing a copy of the video for all of those who registered. So still grab a pen and, think and be creative and ask questions so we can all brainstorm together. Without further ado, here's D'Angelo.
Okay, awesome. Let me share my screen. Could you guys see it?
Yep, yep.
Okay. All right. We're gonna talk about the challenges of scaling and I guess briefly the benefits. Obviously, we all know the benefits. Um, but first I'll talk about the team. So the team is me and Sharon. Sharon's the CEO, and then I'm the chief marketing officer. But I should be the operations officer actually. I don't do a lot of marketing. Um, and this is our VA team. Uh, they have changed, so these faces are a little bit different. And for our Airbnb team, we generally will have our team lead and then our guest support team. So our team lead will be um, leading the guest support generally. We'll have the HR recruiter who's super important because of for HR you kind of need them all year round. Or from what we noticed, they have to be working all year round, generally part-time. And then we also have a repairs person and then a listing manager who deals with all the data and all that stuff, or just the listings in general. And then also we have a bookkeeper. So currently we have 70 listings. We're all throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. Our booking value is about 3.1 million. We have a lot of reviews. So we have a lot of experience when it comes to dealing with Airbnb. We're also on VRBO. In the Bay Area, when it comes to bookings, Airbnb is about 85% of bookings, and VRBO is about 10 to 15%. And then for us, we have a few direct bookings from generally from people that have booked with us before. They'll just reach out to us, and then we'll give them a little bit, like better discount so that they'll stay with us or keep staying with us. Okay, so challenges of scaling. When we first started, um, obviously we were like everybody else who had nothing. So we started from zero. So all of this, challenges we had, that's basically our past experience. Um, the biggest part of it is the operational complexity. Just when you have like one Airbnb, it's fine. Then when you get two or three, it's easy for you to be able to take care of things, but once you get up to 10, then 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, you basically take whatever that problem is and you just multiply it by the amount of listings you have. And we would get a lot of problems such as for example uh, uh, washer and dryers breaking like five at the same time for some reason, or one time we had like four or five of our houses had mice go into them all at the same time, but all in a different parts of the Bay Area within a few weeks. And people breaking in different properties or whatnot, or cleaning problems. So everything's multiplied and it just gets very difficult. So we have to create processes to be able to handle that and have a very good team. So finding the right team and having good training is very, very important. Otherwise, you'll just go crazy. Also, on top of that, tech is really important. Uh, in the beginning, we used to have, for example, just Airbnb. But then later on, we'd have to add VRBO, and then we also are you'll also need a PMS to be able to connect everything. So later on, maybe around 5 to 10 properties, we started adding like apps, other apps and tech to be able to like start handling everything. And then later on, I think around 20 or 30, we started changing the apps because as we started getting bigger, uh, we actually needed more features. So then we'd have to start over and then get better apps. And then now we're at the point where we need even better apps because each app usually has like tiers. If you would talk to a property manager that had like 500 to 1,000 units, it's very different than us, where our app will be good for I think maybe 50 to like 150 or something like that. But the bigger you are, the more features you need, so that you could kind of like handle everything. Okay, so some benefits of scaling, obviously, it's so that you could increase your cash flow, be able to add more units. If you had multifamily units, you could add Airbnbs, fill in some vacant units. We have a lot of owners where they have multifamily properties and they can't fill some of their units. And then surprisingly, we're able to fill it with short-term guests and also midterm rentals, like in Oakland, Berkeley, Alameda, and like San Mateo. Other advantages of scaling is being able to leverage systems, tech, and then you do get some cost savings, especially when you're um, getting the PMS. For example, the more listings you have, the cheaper it is. For example, we have our pricing, our revenue manager app. I think you have to pay like maybe like 30 or 50 or whatever per per listing. But then I think right now we pay maybe I think about $13 ish. And for the PMS, I think it's around 60, maybe 50 to 70-ish. And we pay about, I think around $12, I think, because of the cost savings. Also, the bigger you get, the better brand recognition you get. You're able to get more repeat guests, direct bookings. And this is one thing where what we haven't done yet, but it's like getting a membership program or like having a coupon program. It's where you're able to keep everybody in your PMS CRM and then be able to, log in how many times they book with you, any notes that you have, and then give them something like a loyalty program. Okay. So Um, Generally, for leverage, the main things that you need is people, systems, software, obviously. Uh, you get more time for other responsibilities. For example, if you need to do more revenue management, or I meant more sales, then being able to depend on these other people and systems, you'll be able to do more sales. Because since we're in real estate, doing more revenue generating tasks is very important because we're in a sales and marketing industry, basically. Leverage is also important because you need to work, what's called, work on the business versus in the business. That's super important because, like for me, if I'm always working, like doing pricing or whatever, or talking to the VAs all the time, then I won't have enough time to be able to work on sales, be able to go network or work on um, our email marketing campaign that nobody else could do, right? Because the VAs can't do it, I have to do it. I can't have AI do it, I have to do it. So it's very important. You gotta really audit your time, and you only have so many hours in the day in the week, so you have to be able to like really audit your time and be able to leverage. One book that's really, really good to use is Leadership Books by John Maxwell. I'd say if you're getting a team of VAs and also just team members, it's good to listen to these books because if you're not a good leader, you'll actually start losing all your virtual assistants. And we learn that from our mistakes, and some people we had like a revolving door for maybe like a year or two because we were like getting mad at them and all that stuff. So if you have anger management issues, you might want to fix that. Okay, let's see. Next. Okay, so here are some problems that we've encountered in the past. Um, this guy on the left side, he is a burglar, and he is robbing one of our properties in Oakland. He came in a scooter and then just came up and then broke down the door and then stole some items. On the right side, this is one of our properties in Daly City. And then what happened was one of the tenants or one of the guests brought her boyfriend over, and this is the boyfriend who's being arrested. And the boyfriend slit his throat and then also stabbed her. So the cops came with their guns and then they broke down the door, and then there's blood all over the floor, and then they arrested him. So these are some problems that, you know, would come across managing our Airbnbs.
Wait, so was that your actual camera that recorded all of that?
Yeah, those the owner's Ring camera.
So is that something you install, or like you arbitrage and have the own and tell the owners you guys have to install it?
They already had it. Um, yeah,
Mm.
they already had it, and then they just share the login with us.
So like is that a requirement for all of your properties to have that?
Not all of them, but it's good to have it because it's a lot easier for us to see what's going on. And then also especially with guests who are stuck at, trying to check in,
Mhm.
or Amazon or the cleaners. We usually like monitoring the front of the house, usually around 11 a.m. and between like 3 to 7 or 8 is when people are checking in. And then also with the handyman, the gardener, um, the hot tub person, just any vendor who's coming in and out. And yeah, so we usually push them to have cameras. But then people like the multifamily owners, we don't push push them as much.
Mhm. And then so with those crimes that happened, like was it your team that found out about this issue, or was it more like, okay, the police is calling and then that's how you guys figured out what happened?
The first one, there was no police on that. I think on that, I think our team saw it, and then they saw it on the camera, I believe,
Wow.
and then they called the police. The VAs called the police, and then obviously the police didn't come.
Oh no, oh, because it's Oakland.
Yeah, I guess it's Oakland. And then for the other one, I think they did call, I believe, but I think they called the VAs, and then they were try to call us. And
Mhm.
then we had to my partner went over there to meet the police because they
Mhm.
wanted to meet the property manager. And I think the owner wasn't around at the time. Yeah.
So, Tony Chinasa, he's one of our, he's actually in Lymphony was in my cohort, and he asked, can you share what your SOP is for a situation when police or emergency services are called? Do you have any best practices on how to handle these situations?
So basically if something would happen, we just have to talk to the police as fast as possible. We don't have like a solid SOP for it because the thing is things like this don't happen a lot. But usually it's me and my partner that are just solving this problem instead of the VAs. But for the VAs, they generally will just call the police if something would this would happen, and then they would try to collect as much evidence as possible and look at all the cameras, and then they'll make a document with everything that happened because we need to prepare it for insurance, um, so that we could submit for a claim if anything was damaged. And then if it's obviously it's the if some things were stolen or whatever, we could try to send it to one of our insurance companies, Wavo, and then oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but we'll send it to Wavo even though there was no gas. Um,
So is
and
that insurance like STR specific, or is that the same as like a regular home insurance?
it's STR specific. So we'll try to do it that way so that we'll actually get paid out. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's off the record.
And then with that insurance that you mentioned, is this like so the owner still should have like their regular home insurance or like the rental version or the landlord version, I guess, that type of home insurance, and then you have
Yeah.
to buy a secondary policy on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. Usually the homeowner they'll usually have regular insurance or insurance, but obviously we tell them, hey, you should have insurance where short-term rentals are covered, right? Or midterm rentals, whatever they're doing, and then we usually push them to NREIG and
Mm, yeah.
proper. But then sometimes the insurance company that they already have like some kind of short-term rental policy. And also sometimes they have like different rules with their insurance. It seems like they're all kind of different with the rules. Like sometimes like they need a one of the owners to be there at the property or to live there for like one night a year. That I heard one of those. It's kind of weird. So it's a little bit different for everybody. And then, so we do have insurance, usually on the properties for through Wavo, usually covered. We're covering everything but Airbnb, but we sometimes could like make it in a way where they actually cover some of the Airbnb stuff. And for Airbnb, they usually have air cover. If air cover doesn't work, we'll use the other one, which is Wavo. They have several insurance companies that you could get, and then we connect Wavo to our PMS, and then we'll have to pay a certain amount every booking. So I think I forget how much we were paying, but maybe like $30 or $20 or something like that, and a part of it would go to us, and then a part of that would also go to the insurance company. So we'll make it a profit center for ourselves too.
Got it. Sounds good. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so when it comes to maintenance, it's actually very difficult. I'd say it's super difficult when you're dealing with maintenance because there's just so many things that are happening. For example, I don't know, this pool table fell down. Um, and then this garage broke. This garage actually, what happened, the guest hit it, and we had to go through Airbnb, go through the case resolution center, and then we had to go back and forth. And then we had to get bids as fast as possible because they have like a timeline when you should get bids. And then we this is actually a what's it called? It's one of those garages where it's a tilt up garage. So the cost of the tilt up garage was about $3,000 was our lowest bid. Um, and then our highest bid was about 5,000 for a tilt up garage. So we submitted the the claim for 5,000 and then we actually got it. So we profited a certain amount over the $3,000. Um, so there's you're able to actually make this a profit center for yourselves if you had your own Airbnb, um, and do that with what's it called, Airbnb resolution center. Also with maintenance, usually we use Trello. So what we do, we usually use Trello, and then we deal with the handyman and our VAs. Dealing with maintenance is actually super difficult, I think, with the VAs, because there's different levels of VAs, and some VAs they do more critical thinking, or they're more visual than some of the other VAs. So you kind of have to like make sure you have a good VA who's actually good at that stuff, because some of them just like to talk, and you can't have that.
And then with your VAs though, that are handling like the fixes, like they're doing it from remote. Do they actually know how to get these bids or like know what's wrong with things?
Yeah, they do. Because
Have experience in the background
I
though?
I train them, that's why.
Got-
Um, so I have like a huge playlist of videos, and then I have them watch it. And they have a bunch of handyman videos, and also I have them go through what's it called? It's called bathroom repair tutor, but I think they changed the name. And then I kind of like have the VA kind of like try to learn how to do construction, like kind of like learn like little steps on how to do it so that they kind of like get the mindset of how to actually get these things fixed.
So you're
Um
saying the next time my toilet clogs, I don't need to post it on a Sayer or call Nelson and I can just hit you up for your SOP on how to fix that toilet?
yeah, yeah, pretty much, I guess.
Oh my gosh. That's a
Because
it's a lot of work though to organize like all these repairs and fixes around the house.
yeah, it is. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then we also have inspectors who come in. So usually the inspector comes in and then they'll make the list for the handyman and for the cleaner. But usually the VA will intake that list and then double check on past repairs, um, and any recent repairs, uh, or I guess any other repairs that are needed, I meant, and then kind of like make the list a lot better so that we could send it out to the appropriate vendors. So we have inspectors going to the property monthly and bi-monthly, depending on the property. So we really depend on them too for their eyes, uh, so that we could get our properties at with good quality or whatever. Okay, so here's some other stuff. We have a lot of we actually have a lot of towels that we always get. We don't know what to do with it, so I just give it to my aunt, and she sends it to the Philippines like every month. Um, Sometimes we get like 10 or 20 bags a month, and if anybody knows what else we could do with it, let me know. Um, okay.
So doesn't the shipping cost more than how much it would cost to buy a new one? if you're shipping
Uh,
out to the Philippines?
I would think so. I don't know. But yeah, that's my aunt. Um, okay, so you don't build a business, you build people, then people build the business. This is pretty important because if you don't have good people, you're not able to have a good team, you're not able to lead them correctly, your business won't do well. And obviously, I'm assuming most of you guys work, so you guys kind of know that. Okay, so this is very important. This is very helpful actually for us. What we do is we take all the tasks in the company, and this is not all of them, but this is mainly most of them for the virtual assistants. And then we list it per department. And then from there, each VA, they will be assigned one of those tasks. And then they'll always refer to this so they know what they're doing and they know who else is doing what. This is super important because you don't want them to get confused, especially when you're pushing, you're kind of like moving people around during shifts, like from morning shift to night shift or mid shift. They know exactly what to do. So this is very important to get. And also, you'll connect this to all the trainings that you have on your Loom or whatever, so that they could just click on it or click on that and kind of like learn it or relearn it. So this is our organizational chart. So Sharon, she mainly does the accounting and finance, and some of the operations and some sales. We both do some sales. I do a lot of the operations. I deal with HR. Um, and generally obviously we're the managers. And then we manage the bookkeeper, the maintenance coordinator, um, the team lead, and the recruiter. The bookkeeper will never talk to anybody here. HR recruiter will only talk to these people just in the very beginning, but we generally don't want them to be speaking to the rest of the team. Bookkeeper and recruiter, we usually speak to them on Skype. Maintenance coordinator and the team lead, we speak to them on Slack. Skype is free, Slack you have to pay. And then the maintenance coordinator, they always deal with the handyman and the guest management team, they deal with the cleaning team. But we also have to have the guest management team also deal with the handyman too, but they're just not going to do as well as the maintenance coordinator who has more more experience. Maintenance coordinator works from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Guest management team, they work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. And then team lead works from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then they all have lunch. And they generally don't take breaks. Sometimes they do. Bookkeeper is just working, right now they're working 6 to 10, I think, or 11. I need to double check her. HR recruiter is working from 5 to 8, Monday to Friday. And then me and Sharon always work. Oh, and the cleaners, they pretty much work 7 days a week. If they don't work 7 days a week, then it's hard for us to work with them because the Airbnbs are 7 days a week, right? Handyman, we work with a lot of handyman. I think for cleaners, we work with I think about maybe 5 to 7 cleaning teams. But at one point we had 11 cleaning teams.
So with your cleaners, like, do you just hire like a team that will take over a whole lot of properties? Like basically you're their only client, or are they also, do they need to find other businesses to
I
support?
think we're not their only client because I think because we're not like super stable
Mhm.
because there's several reservations. So I think they have other cleanings um like cleaning houses or offices on like a weekly or monthly basis or biweekly basis. And I think they do it before. I know for sure they do it before ours, before 11 a.m. And I think they end um after ours, like around 4 p.m. or 5. I think that's when they end. But I think they're doing the regular cleanings before our cleanings generally.
And then
Um,
how many, like, so then if it's one house, would you assign it for like one specific team all the time? Or like you have to have like you every single time someone is like gone and then you have to like call a whole bunch of people to see who's available. Because you said you have so many teams to run through.
yeah, yeah. So usually one cleaning team will be assigned to a certain amount of houses, and we have to talk to the cleaning like manager generally and find out if they have good bandwidth, and then we ask them, oh, how many people is on your team? And then also we look at if they do inspection of their own cleaners. And then because if they're not doing it all the time, that means they might be stretching themselves too thin, you know? So at that point, we start capping it. And then we'll have another cleaning team come in. And then cleaning teams, they're kind of like contractors, like and handyman. They'll they'll go away after a couple years, so you have to kind of find another one.
Mm.
Because of I don't know, like they're change of lifestyle or whatever. Like things just change. So cleaning teams are always changing. And then we'll have, I think the most that one of our cleaners has is about like 5 to 7, somewhere on there. And obviously they're only in certain geographical area. Yeah,
Mm. That is tough.
it is.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think right now we pay like on average is about 30 to 35,000 a month for cleanings. So we're like, oh, maybe we should make it in-house. But I don't speak Spanish.
And cost of labor has gone up, and it's hard to say, but actually you'll be able to save up for that.
Yeah,
Then you have an extra mouth to feed too, so it's like, eh.
that's true. Most of them speak Portuguese, actually. So a lot of them are from Brazil.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
interesting, cool.
Okay. So this is really important for us. Loom is probably the most important for us because it's just easier. Um, when we're doing our work ourselves, we'll just use Loom and just record it. We were using YouTube, or I meant QuickTime because it was free, and then we'll put it onto YouTube, but it was so slow. And then Loom just makes it a lot easier. And then also you could use your cell phone with Loom. And then when we're at the property, we'll just record on Loom and it'll just go directly onto the Loom website as a training. So I really like the app. Loom is on the bottom left. We do have SOP for the team that's, it's written. Our team lead was doing that. And then we have a job card that we have to do. Like right now, we're doing it every quarter. And you kind of have to do that because you kind of have to make sure that your VAs are improving, and then they want to feel like they're improving too. And then, obviously, you want to make the company better. Okay, so this is our VA recruiting process. First things first, we mainly use Online Jobs PH for all Filipino VAs. There are other platforms, but we haven't really used them. I mean, we've used Facebook, and that didn't do really well. Um, I think we did get a few Egyptians and things like that, but it was just a lot easier just using online jobs. And let's see, yeah. So usually online jobs is about I think about $90 ish. We'll usually post twice a week, or we'll refresh twice a week, and then we'll put 2 or 3 job posts. This is for our guest management team, so this is like the first layer. Then we'll have about 200, 500 applications. So we'll have to filter through all those emails. We'll have about 30 to 60 interviews. And then after that, um, we'll put everybody through an assessment, either through High People or Test Gorilla. Um, right now, High People has they have a free version. That's the one we use. Test Gorilla had a better free version before, but now it's not as um, not that free. It's very limited, but they dropped their price. So maybe we might use it again later on. We always do a role play on the first interview, and then after the assessment, we do a trial run because we kind of have to figure out if they know how to work the way that we want them to work. Before we used to have a lot of people go through this without the trial run, and then we kind of had them go into training, and then there we would kind of like trial run them. But then after a while, we were kind of like wasting a lot of time. So now we're just putting the trial run in the interview, um, and then just seeing if they are good then, and then just kind of like looking at their habits and all that stuff. For example, we had this one person, um, the trial run was for maintenance, and then they had to call like a bunch of dumpster companies because we have a flip, and then we wanted them to get some prices. And I think maybe like 2 hours into it, after we gave them all the stuff, we gave them all the logins and stuff. I think she didn't reach out about the OTP until 2 hours later. And I was like, why did you say anything? So I had to end the trial run right then and there because I was like, I'm not gonna keep going with this because it's clearly you're not being proactive. Um and then and oh yeah, and the trial runs we make it paid because it's a couple hours, like 4 hours. For final interviews, we still do a final interview. Is I just feel like the trial run's the most important because you could kind of feel how they work. During the final interview, I kind of just I kind of like look at the first interview a lot and just kind of like dig deeper. Usually the recruiter will do the whole process except the final interview, generally. Uh, you kind of don't want to do all the other stuff because it's just too much time. Because I was doing so many interviews every single week until I got the recruiter.
Well,
It was the
definitely tell me more about that recruiter person. Is that someone you hired in-house, like a full-timer, just to, oh,
yeah, yeah, they're a little bit easier to get, I think. Because you'll find a lot of online jobs recruiters with like four years of experience, at least 3 to 4 years of experience. And you have to make sure it says recruiting on their resume, not like HR. Like it has to be recruiting and it has to say end-to-end recruiting. That's super important.
got it. And so if you say pretend, okay, I saw someone in the chat was actually saying like he's hiring his first VA right now. In that situation, would you recommend that he goes and hire like a part-timer person to like a recruiter person to help him find his own VA, or do you feel like he should do that all from scratch based on those instructions you gave? Because just hearing about how you had 500 applications is pretty daunting. And to be honest, like for those who are in the room, I also hired our VA based on what Giangelo taught me too. And we started with 270 applications. Took me 5 or 6 weeks until we were able to hire our EA. And I'm like, that was a
Mhm.
lot of work. So I was just like curious in your mindset is that if for someone who's hiring, would you tell them to do it on their own or find that recruiter person?
Yeah, because the thing is the recruiter is they're just doing what I told them to do. Um, it's not like they weren't they know a little bit more, right? But it's not like, a lot of these recruiters, they work for those VA companies. And then I was noticing that sometimes like my process was better than the VA company's process. So so yeah, I would say like kind of do it yourself first and then come up with your SOP or use Loom and then just have the recruiter follow if you're doing. We paid our recruiter $5 an hour. So I think you should be able to find another one at five. We're finding another recruiter right now because our current recruiter, she's getting burnt out. from her main job. So we have to
So she
find
has
it.
another job, you're saying. And so the
Yeah,
first.
they generally have another job because we're only hiring them part-time. That's
Mhm.
it. Like just like super part-time, like 10 to 15 hours. Um, Mainly 15 hours when they are going to be doing like all the hiring. And then when we're not hiring and they're just doing random interviews and then just doing other stuff, we'll lower it to
Oh.
like 10.
So you don't really hire them in a permanent status, like a full-time or anything, but it's more as needed, and you'll pay them hour by the hour for like a
Yeah,
specific hire.
before it was we'll put gig like on there like freelance gig or whatever before, but now it's we're just doing it part-time because I don't want to always keep like having to go through recruiters. Even though
Uh,
our recruiters are really good actually. They're super smart. But yeah, we're gonna do part-time for now. And just have them work all year round. Because uh some of the VAs, obviously some of them have like their own like personal issues.
mhm,
So you always have to kind of have people ready just in case that things happen. Like, I don't know. For example, we had one like 2 months ago. Um, the VA, she had like a lung, something happening with her lungs, and she
mhm,
wasn't really like telling us about it. And then when I looked up the condition, it said on ChatGPT it was a terminal disease. So I was like, oh, that's really bad. Um, so obviously she couldn't work anymore.
mhm,
Um, and then we had another one who had cancer. That was bad. Um, and then we had one who just quit because it was just too much work for them, or they were just I don't know, like there's too much pressure, I guess. And then obviously we had people quit because we're just like driving them too much, especially before. So you kind of have to like figure that out because and also they're virtual assistants from the Philippines, so they don't act like people here. So you kind of have to get used to that.
mhm. Like different work ethics and styles.
Yeah, and then like how they speak, like when they're talking to people, you kind of have to figure out how they are like. Um they also get butthurt really easily. Uh and you don't want them to ghost you, otherwise, they'll be gone.
Mm.
Yeah.
So Tony has a question, is uh how has what has been your retention rate been like since you started implementing these SOPs and having the recruiter? And what was it like before you had the SOPs?
Oh yeah, before we got the SOPs, it was like a revolving door. It was just like people are just leaving. And then we just had like one VA who stayed. But now people are staying over a year, um, or a year and a half right now. So it's a lot better. Um, but then the thing is, the personal issues, that's something, obviously you can't really solve that. And it's hard to get that during the interview. It's super hard. Because like during an interview, I'm not gonna be like, oh, or I can't like figure out exactly, oh, is your mom gonna slap you on this day and then cause you to like leave the company? I'm not gonna know those questions.
Mhm. Got
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Some of the training that we do for our maintenance coordinator, this is very important because if you're doing flips too, this is the same basically, or almost the same. So for us, we had them go through home repair tutor. Not all of it because home repair tutor, there's a lot of things like that they'll teach, but just teach them the core items. Because if you could repair a bathroom, it kind of applies throughout the whole property, right? Um, they also should draw out the systems of a house. So if you see this house here, I have them draw it multiple times so they understand how the water is going into the property and how it's going out, how the electrical is going into the property, um, and how the HVAC works, right? Because it's really important for maintenance. For YouTube, I kind of built or I just saved a lot of videos and I just kind of like put a playlist for every trade: plumbing, electrical, HVAC, foundation, walls, floors, tile, whatever. And then I just had them go through the videos, and I put on Trello for them to like check mark which ones they did. I do have the Lexus days or the maintenance coordinator go through fortune builders. Also, I have this. Uh, I got it for free, but it teaches them how to do how to think about repairs, and then also how to deal with full rehabs. We have VRMA training because we're part of that association, dealing with, or they have to deal with inspectors and cleaners. Um, but it's still like kind of like limited. Um, ChatGPT training, we just have them watch a video. Um, and then we have a lot of internal training videos. Okay. This obviously the numbers are different in whatever area your property's in, but inspectors and runners, they're like $35 to $45 an hour for us. Usually the further it is, the higher the price. But the thing is, you kind of have to like weigh it out. Like, for example, if your handyman is at $45 an hour too, or $35 an hour, you might want to send your handyman instead of your inspector, because they're going to be two different people, right? The inspector is going to be not as handy, but if the handyman goes out, and then they're going far and they're still charging that price, they could fix whatever is at the property, unlike the inspector who could fix it. Usually inspectors, we usually find them just through Facebook, and then for us, we've also found them through our office building, because we have a lot of companies in here, and then people just have, they know people, so we're able to get that. Um, our housekeeping assistant is one of the things that we're gonna have, or one of the people will have later on, or some kind of like housekeeping manager, because we kind of need somebody to be able to talk with the cleaners in Spanish or Portuguese or whatnot, and then just be able to um, make sure the quality is always super high, and they're also going out with the inspectors. We might even have them replace most of the inspectors, because inspectors, they only come when there's a an inspection, just once a week generally, for our scheduling. Okay, so we have a for our properties, we have a standard property appearance. This is very important. You have to make this, and you'll usually want to show a picture of, the bathroom, the kitchen, or whatever, and show exactly where everything should be and what items they are, and then how many items should be there. That's very important, so that you could just hand it over to the cleaner and they'll follow it. And you want this standard throughout all your properties. In this packet, you also want the turnover cleaning checklist, because the cleaner will have to check that every time, and the inspector. Also, you want a deep cleaning checklist, and then also any other items that you want them to check. For a handyman, we generally go through TaskRabbit. Um, it might be a little bit different if you're in a vacation area, but we're in an urban area, so TaskRabbit works. Also, they're not in every area. Like, for example, Tracy in Stockton, I don't think they have TaskRabbit last time I checked. They only had the Bay Area, and then they had Sacramento. So, yeah, I need to find a handyman there. For cleaners, we've used Yelp, Turno, Thumbtack. Um, we didn't use car marketing, but we did referrals. Oh no. Oh yeah, car marketing. There's some people with their cars, and then we took a picture of it, but I don't think that ever worked out. And next door. Okay, so here's our tech stack. These are all the apps that we've used. Airbnb VRBO obviously is the OTA. Wheelhouse is a revenue manager. You could also use what's the other one? Price Labs. Price Labs is cheaper, but Wheelhouse is better, a lot better. Time Doctor is very important so that you're able to track your VAs. And you could also use Top Tracker, which is free. Time Doctor is like $10 to $15 per month, I think, per VA. Google Drive, obviously, TaskRabbit, LastPass. We use LastPass because we didn't switch to password one or whatnot, just because we're a little bit lazy. OpenPhone is our VoIP, which is very good, I think. We're able to see what our VAs are texting. We went through what were the other ones? Mm, we went through some of the popular ones. Like I think there's that big company in San Mateo or Redwood City, but they didn't really work well with the VA. And we kind of need something that works well with the VA, right? OwnerRes is our PMS. So I think we started with oh shit, which one did we start with? I think we started with Hostfully. Oh no, we started with Smart BNB, I think. And then after that we went with Hostfully, and now we're going to OwnerRes. And then Hospitable, that's what it's called. They had the least features, but we needed more features. Then we went to Hostfully, and then now we need better features. Now we're gonna go to OwnerRes. And then there's even better PMSs above that. For our project management, we use Trello. For our inspectors, we're starting to use Connect Team. For assessments, we use High People. You could use Test Gorilla.
Go
For
back to
payments,
Connect Team. How does that one work?
it's just I think you just put tasks in it and then you just schedule them. And I don't know how it really I don't really know how important it is because we could just do it just by messaging them on open phone. I just because like one of the coaches told us to try it, and I was like, all right, whatever.
And so
And
like for the
it's funny,
inspectors, it's just to use for scheduling.
pretty much. And then like they'll message through that app. Because we're trying to figure out right now like an app that'll work well with the handyman and inspectors, especially the handyman. But I still need to figure it out.
Mm, gotcha.
Yeah. Also, it lets them know, obviously it lets them know like they'll check in in wherever location they're in, so it's easier to like track their time.
You mean location as in like as a GPS thing?
Yeah.
Oh, to see they're actually at your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, got it, got it.
Yeah. And then obviously we still use the cameras to see that they're there, and then but on the properties with no cameras, then we wouldn't see them.
And then do you use that thing where because I forgot what Danny Wong does, but he does this thing where they can set an automatic like a 4-digit code to that the only the vendors can come in at that specific time frame so that it kind of tests that they're actually coming around what time they're supposed to be. And it's
Yeah,
automated.
we have
I think that's what he does.
I do.
Dan,
Yeah, I
is
do.
that how it works?
Yeah. I use Schleg, the door lock,
Yeah.
and then I'm able to program 100 codes. So if a handyman comes or whoever comes, HVAC person, plumber, I set it to a certain time frame so he comes in, and then when it ends, then that code doesn't work anymore.
And then isn't it automated how you have these codes sent out or and created like based on when they're gonna leave?
Yeah. So the person or the booker books my place. Usually their phone number is attached. Then it's automated in OwnerRes. So I use OwnerRes too. Yeah, it automates they uses the person who booked their last 4 digits of the cell phone number as to generate their code.
Cool. Because I feel
yeah,
like
and we do
a
the
lot of
same
stuff you
thing.
connect. That's kind of awesome.
Let's
Work
see.
smarter, not harder. Go, Danny. Cool.
Yeah, and then let me just finish up.
Airbnb
Pipedrive is the
has both.
CRM. Uh, let's see, Instacart, we use that a lot for getting the items. And then Amazon also. Wave is, maybe I shouldn't have put Wave in there, but Wave is more for like creating the SOPs when you're driving. Um, and then Slack and WhatsApp. WhatsApp is for the cleaners, Slack is for the team, for the VA team. And then there's Loom. And that's it.
Well, what is Wise?
Oh, that's a payment processor for the VAs. That's how we send them payments through their bank or through Gcash.
Oh, got it. That's
Yeah,
the international transfer, the website.
yeah. Oh, I forgot. We also have a payment processor too. Another one for the PMS. Right now we use Ascent, and then the portal is authorized.net.
And then
That's
how,
specific to short-term rentals.
for those, like, do you have like a payment thing that's for all these so many vendors? Or is this just like a credit
Yeah.
card check or
Um, it's through like four of the major companies. And then they had like Diners Club and like another one, JCB or something. But we just used the regular cards.
oh, so you can pay the vendors in credit card and they're willing to accept payments in credit card?
Oh no, no, the guests, they book using their credit cards, and then they'll go through our payment processor.
Oh no, I mean like is there an easy way that you found managing all these so many vendors that you have to pay them, like the US vendors, the little
Oh,
handy here and there and stuff.
oh, we just use Zelle. That's a Zelle or Venmo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but then obviously every time a vendor goes in, we have to double check everything and then see they actually did the work, look at the cameras, and then look at their time, and then create the invoice, make sure we have all their W-9s, and then do the payment. And I think we pay like maybe like 14 days later or something like that. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, in the past they always had to ask for checks and this and that. I was like, and then to go in person to pay them was just kind of annoying. So,
Oh yeah,
so
I don't like doing that. I was doing that for one of our flips, and oh my God, it was too much, especially because it was in Stockton for one of them.
well, that's far.
Yeah, yeah. So
Cool.
anybody else have questions?
Oh yeah, there's a lot in here. Cool.
Oh,
All right, you ready? So Wilson Liu asks, what are their strategies for navigating Airbnb's nightly stay restrictions in certain Bay Area counties?
oh, generally, if it's really strict, we'll have short-term, we'll have to have midterm rental and short-term rental strategy. So midterm rental during the slow season, and then part of the spring and part of the fall season, and then the best months is going to be short term, and then we'll use those a lot of days, depending on the city. That's generally how we do it. If the owner is able to get the permit, the owner gets the permit, we don't get the permit, because usually they'll say it's a primary, it has to be primary residence. Um, and um, and yeah, usually what the owner usually has to give is usually like utility bills or something that shows the address for that property generally.
And so you're also helping the owners as well, figuring out like those restrictions. So like it's like, and then have to switch your strategy to MTR when it's needed.
We actually don't. They usually are like really gung-ho about it, and then they usually get it. And then sometimes, obviously we always check beforehand because we don't want to get in trouble. And then we'll let them know, and then they just get the permit somehow.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, we don't get the permit for them generally. They usually get and many times you have to get a business like account or a registration with the city, and then they'll get the permit generally.
That's hard. And then, so it sounds like you're also balancing not only the Airbnb short-term stay, but you're also doing midterm rentals. Is that right?
Yeah, yes.
How does this your strategy for marketing, does that also have to change as well?
It doesn't change that much just because there's so much competition in the Bay, because of the restrictions. So since there was a lot of restrictions, a lot of people went to midterm rentals. So it kind of flooded the market, right? Um, so we would use Airbnb. They mainly come from Airbnb. And then I feel like Furnish Finder, it does happen on Furnish Finder, of course, but I feel like sometimes in different areas it doesn't work as well. Yeah.
And then is it hard like marketing all individually 70 something listings all at the same time?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we just put it on the OTA, uh, generally, and then going forward, the main thing that we want to do is be able to collect everyone's information so we could have more direct bookings. That's the thing that we're gonna do moving forward, so that we could beat the competition generally.
And
Uh,
stay off of Airbnb, right? Because they would book
yeah,
it through. Mm.
and then we're gonna start renovating some of the properties, like just making it nicer. Because I noticed when we were doing it, when we're changing it up a little bit, the price goes back up, like the revenues go back up. We had one we've been managing for like 5 years, and then we recently just we kind of had to move things because um I think the owner was she had to do a little renovation just to fix it up because I think she wanted to change the HVAC and then repaint and all that stuff. So after she did that, we she wanted new stuff, and then when we put the new stuff in, the revenues went back up. I think we were at 130. I remember we were at like 150 to 170 per night. And then it went up to like over 200
Oh,
a night.
wow.
And I was like, okay, I think we should be doing this and retaking pictures and stuff like every couple, I don't know, maybe over like every 5 years or over 5 years or something, like depending on like the performance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so like when you're working with your clients then on those renos, is that something that they're covering for the pay? Like you're not doing it, right?
Yeah,
And
we're only doing we're only helping with like the design.
oh, and then they find their own like contractors and rehab and finish it themselves and then turn it back to you.
Yeah, because they usually have somebody already,
Mm.
generally, like some handyman or something. Usually it's handyman. Sometimes they have contractors, but generally it's handyman.
Mm, that's good. Cool.
Yeah.
Next question is also from Tony, and it's more about um, the business part with or your idea of scaling with Sharon. When you started partnering, working with your partner, how did you agree to scale, and what might your end goal or exits might be?
How did we agree to scale? Um, I think we just did it. We didn't really like think about it. And then the end goal, um, we're just kind of like thinking it. We're not like thinking, oh, like what we're gonna do in like 5 years. We're kind of just doing it. At the time, she was working at like a general contractor development company in Burlingame, and then at the time I was still flipping houses. Um, so we just started one Airbnb and just kind of like started getting more because people were asking us about our Airbnb and how we got it more revenue, and then more people started telling other people, and a lot of word of mouth or whatever, and then it just started getting bigger and bigger, and until we got to maybe like a year ago, and then we had more churn, but then we're getting properties more properties in, so it was like we're losing people and gaining people because the market changed. Obviously, like the Marriott is going into foreclosure, the one in Oakland. The waterfront is going to foreclosure. Um, Hyatt in San Francisco. Uh, the Hilton is actually under foreclosure too. That was crazy. The Hilton, the one with the bar on top.
Oh, this is no the spinning one? No, Embarcadero? Not that
No,
one.
not the spinning one. It's the one where It's the one where 360 view. And it's all glass. And I think
Oh,
I forgot what it's called, but
I
it's the
thought I
one
read that one
closer
this
to
time.
Tenderloin.
Or that's supposed to be slowly moving. Is that the 360 one?
It's the one closer to Tenderloin, the
Oh,
tall one.
okay. Not that
Yeah,
one.
and you have the view of the skyline.
Oh, dang. So that means there's no more hotel. They're just gonna have to stay with you then.
Yeah, yeah.
But I guess his question also might be related to like when you guys if you actually created like an LLC or an operations agreement with Sharon.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
how did you guys start figuring out like who's gonna do what and all and um like if issues come up and stuff like that.
Um, well, we didn't really do that in the beginning. We kind of just, move forward, basically. I don't think it even has responsibilities on there. But then we both do like 50-50 work basically on it.
Basically, you both work 24/7 and 365.
Yeah. I would say like, yeah, it's kind of important if you're working with somebody you don't know, because I have another partner on a flip, and it was like, it was over a year flip, and he's there's just some people that they're just not entrepreneurs. Like they're just they just don't they just can't do it. Like it might not be in their skill set, depending on the business, right? Too. Um, like for example, in flips, you have to be very good at sales and marketing. That's like number one, because um, the value is either in the deal or the money, right? And also construction, but that's a little bit less depending on the level, right? But then he wasn't really like good at anything except when bringing like the initial money, but he couldn't really do other things. So like he was making a lot of mistakes that actually would cost money. Um, so it is very important to have like a really good operating agreement in the beginning, because you kind of want to be able to cut ties. And then obviously if there's a lawsuit or something, you got to be protected.
Mhm.
Because if you're in business, you're gonna get a lawsuit no
Totally.
matter what. There's no way you wouldn't get a lawsuit if you were, like building or whatever. So yeah, I think it's important to have that. So luckily with me and Sharon, we were both kind of like, going in the same way.
Good. Like you guys were both in the same brain length or brave wave lengths.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we lucked out there.
Awesome. All right. So I already answered most of Edison's questions about the hiring, and then we have one more is from Jesse's. Are you able to share that checklist that you had on a page with that checklist? Which checklist are you talking about? Jesse Wang.
It was the cleaning one, I think. Like the page, there was a picture of like the bathroom cabinet.
Oh, let's go back to that slide.
Oh yeah, you could have the slide, all the slides.
Oh,
Okay,
good.
thank you. Wasn't sure if it was like legible. It looked blurry. I was trying to screen grab, but that's probably why.
Oh yeah, you'll be able to see it once you download it.
Yeah, plus I recorded this, so we can zoom up and then create our own version too. Cool. All right. So do you guys any other folks have questions and you want to dig and pick his brains?
I have one. Who's your E&O insurance provider?
It is I forgot. Let me see. Because we have two insurance. Oh no, we have two insurance. We have general liability and we have another one. Let's see. Paragon? Oh no, that was the broker. His cock. His cocks. His
Uh,
cocks.
can you
His
spell it because this sounds really awkward right now?
yeah, HIS COX.
It still sounds bad. That and I'm like an immature 12-year-old. Cool. Any other folks have questions? Danny, you should have questions. You're the one that's doing how what are your goals into turning into 70 like Giangela?
Man,
Where are you
I'm
at now? What are you doing? And maybe Giangela can give you some tips.
I own fully myself, and I have a bunch of partnerships with a bunch of other people, but I taught them how to manage, so they manage it on my behalf. I recently started like a week and a half ago. I recently bought into an AI program. So in the last 2 weeks, the AI have been responding to my guests. So, and it sounds just like me. Which is pretty
Nice.
fun.
Danny, tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean,
What kind of app is this?
it's called hostbuddy.ai. Yeah, and then you just feed it. I mean, the cheapest program is $7 a month per property. So I'm testing it with 2 properties at the moment, so it's just $14 a month. Basically, I have a digital guidebook already, so I was able to download it into a PDF format, and I uploaded the documents there. It also connected to my OwnerRez program, or PMS, and so it knows what, like, the ins and outs, like what is checkout time, what's check-in time, what's anything specific, and it helps me also upsell. So like I have a orphan night, a gap between anywhere from 1 to 5 nights. It's gonna send out messages to those guests in between and say, hey, we have an extra night here and there. Would you want it for 15% off? And then as time gets closer, maybe 30% off. And then a week before the stay, 50% off. So that's how I upsell my extra nights, because it's gonna go to waste anyway, right? If no one books. So why not upsell and just get like half, maybe up to half the nightly rate.
Nice. Does it call too?
No, it does not call.
Oh.
Yeah, so if guests like potentially asks a question, my AI will respond within 3 minutes and the most 5 minutes. And if they'll send out a response no matter what. Even if they don't know the answer to that response, they'll position it in a way where, hey, let me check with the team. And then the AI will send me a notification, which is kind of like a text message, basically a text message like, hey, you have an action item that you have to take for this guest. And it also reads 6 months back into my conversations with other guests to learn my tendencies and how I respond.
Oh.
And yeah, so it's been going great. So it's been only 2 weeks, but all the responses are going through and properly.
Oh wow, that's sick. I need to check that.
Like Tony has a question for Danny about the app. What are the key metrics or results you're looking at to evaluate HostBuddy and decide to go permanent? What would a successful trial look like?
Successful trial would be they don't alert me at all when a guest asks a specific question. Like let's say when's check-in time, it answers, right? Or where is a certain thing, then it'll know the answer. What I like about it also is it reads the whole conversation and answers it properly. Like let's say, for instance, they're coming to celebrate an anniversary. By the end of their checkout, the AI will wish it, oh, hope you enjoyed your time here. Wish you had a fun anniversary with us kind of thing. So it's pretty cool. I guess key metrics or results is just like it's relieving me of my time to answer, I guess. I don't know if I'm gonna go permanent yet, but it seems like it's great because sometimes I guess ask me specific questions like, oh, how do I get the door code? I'm like I would easily, like for me, I would easily answer, hey, all you need to do is fill out the put the security deposit and sign the rental agreement, but the AI can do that now for me.
That is so cool. Giangela's gonna go like, all right, 7 times 70. That's so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, always have to think about that.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to do all of them, but it's not like it definitely relieves your time. And I mean, I know you have VAs to help you answer potentially. It can relieve your VA's time too, right? So then your VA's job is to check on the action items.
That'd be cool if it could connect to the to open phone also. Does it do
Yeah.
that?
I don't think so. I think it's their main target is Airbnbs or VRBO messages.
Mm-hmm.
So JY, is that Jack? Is that Jack Yan?
Yes.
I knew it. See, all you guys are trying to troll me with your initials, and I have to guess who the hell you guys are. So Jack has a Host Buddy AI coupon for 1 month trial if anyone is interested, and the code is called FlexStay. In one word, all caps. Wait, Jack, you also do short-term rentals and stuff too, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you have any wisdoms for our friends here tonight and about what apps you're using also to help you grow?
I mean, all the app I'm using is mostly for operation, less about growing. But I guess a couple things that are missing. I guess one thing could be I guess Breezeway is pretty useful, or Aperto. Those are like a kind of like cleaner management software or handyman management software.
Oh yeah, for us we don't we actually haven't used it was Breezeway. That's the one that we're thinking about doing. But we never did it though. How do you like it?
So for me, right, that is I mean it's pretty good just for like the scheduling and just kind of checking the like pictures and like any reporting stuff. But for me, the main reason that I used it is because they give 10% off property insurance. So like by using it, it actually saved me more money than paying them. That's the main reason.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Because per listing is like, I don't know, like less than $10. So, it's like 120 per listing, and then insurance is like 2,000, 3,000. If you drop 10%, that's like quite a bit of saving.
Oh, Jack, but you own all your properties that you're hosting, right?
No, I actually operate for other people as well.
But then in the insurance savings, how would that be coming to you for the
Well, it saves for my own property, so that's more than enough for me to use it.
Yeah, I was thinking, for example, if D'Angelo's hosting it for others, then if he gets it, it would save those guys money. It doesn't necessarily save you the money.
Yeah, I mean, if you got like a couple properties of your own, saving like I don't know how much insurance is over there, but for me it's like 3,000, 4,000, right? That's like three,
All
four
right,
hundred saving.
we're in Dallas. That's right.
Oh yeah.
That's true. That's true.
That's a good tip.
In here, Jesse, you said how and when did you get started with this? Can you ask that and clarify like what do you mean by this?
I was just like doing the Airbnb. You said he like did a big growth this year or like recently. So I was just curious when he got started.
Oh, I got started about 6 years ago. And then what did we do? Oh yeah, I forgot. I think we were looking at Airbnb because we were following this guy and he was traveling the world. And he had like 20 Airbnbs or something like that. And he just stopped working, I think. And then we wanted to like, travel or whatever. And then somebody told us about this coaching group nearby, and it was called Extended Stay, or no, Extended Landlords or something like that, with Al Williamson. So we joined his program, and then one of the students had like 20 arbitrage. So we bought me and Sharon, we bought the arbitrage for like five or $10,000 or something like that, just to get started and include all the items. And that's how we got our first property. Yeah.
And then you mentioned at first that you did some of those groups and those classes. Is that something you recommend for people who say they have one or two? I know Anne has a couple. If she wants to learn how to do more, do you recommend that's a best route or the fastest route to keep growing?
Um, yeah, we took a lot of them. So we took the extended stay one, probably not, because it's not as, I don't think it's that useful anymore. Um, we're part of Sean's Rakajich or Rakajich, his program. I think it's like Cracking Superhost, I think. And I think they increased the price because when we bought it, we were 3,000, it was about 3,500. And definitely it paid off. And then we also joined STR Legends, which is about the same price at the time. And I think when we joined both of them, they're kind of like beginning, I think. Um, but I think it was super helpful for STR Legends because that's kind of how we got a lot of our SOPs. And then but then we noticed when the programs they give you the SOPs, it's always like the beginner SOPs, but they're not teaching you like the more advanced SOPs and then the manager SOPs, going top down. So we had to, obviously you had to build that. Um, but yeah, I think for Airbnb, I think most of it's free. I mean, you don't have to join um, a coaching thing unless you really wanted to like push yourself. You could also get a consultant if you wanted to. There's one consultant we came across. She's part of shoot, forgot which podcast it was. But it was one of the podcasts, and then we're thinking about using her. I think she charges like 7,000, I think, upfront. And then I forgot the monthly, it was like a couple thousand, or maybe like 1,500, I think, maybe. And then there's a marketing consultant through her too, or that she knows. And then yeah, it's kind of like the flips. You don't, oh well, I guess the flips you might lose a lot of money, so it might be better to get a coach there.
Oh,
Um,
that's true. So you
but
would say probably as a beginner is that don't go into the coaching yet is but try to because there's a lot of information you can find online just by watching the YouTube videos or some of the
yeah, yeah, like a lot of it's free. I mean, you could, everybody in this group has a lot of information. So um yeah, and then just do it. And then you'll kind of start learning everything there.
And then
Uh,
at what point did you decide like that you would say like you have your basic SOPs down, then when is it a good time for you to that hire that person to get you to that next level?
oh, I think we hired ours around like 10 or 15 Airbnbs. Um, uh, we hired the STR Legends person or group, and then that got us a little bit better. And then we did Sean maybe around 35 or something. And then the next one would be I guess it would be the consultant probably. Um, and then I haven't found another coach because I noticed the higher you go, it's like, these people are not on they're like they're not as guru-ish, I noticed. Um,
Really, the gurus are usually attracting only the newbies. Like
yeah,
the
that's true. Yeah, they're usually just attracting newbies.
Mhm.
But yeah.
It's awesome. All right, I think that's all of the questions we had tonight. Man, so you told you it went from like a 20-minute session. Like I told you, it just could not be done in 20 minutes and we had to go for way longer. So I'm so glad that we did this. So thank you so much, D'Angelo, for your time tonight. I have recorded this and I will have this one sent out to all of you guys probably by tomorrow or so. So without further ado, thank you guys. I will catch you at our next webinar. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.